Hello students, in today's lecture we are going to start with practical number 2. On the current slides, whatever topics or the number of practicals which are there in practical number 2 that I have displayed. In today's session we will try to complete practical number 2A because it is already having total 4 questions. So let's start without wasting time. So this is your first practical of 2A1, that is finding factorial. We already did factorial program so many times, that is if you want to calculate factorial of any number, for example 5 factorial, then we will multiply, that is 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, like that we will calculate. Okay, so that is factorial calculation. So for this practical, the interface which I have decided, that is you are having one button. Okay, and I have changed the text of the button to factorial. This is the reason why the factorial text is appear on the button. So for this practical you just have to take a button from the toolbox. Let's start with the coding part. So this is the coding. Basically the first half shows the actual factorial calculation. So for the same I have created one class, that is public class. Now one thing which is very important in this practical that you should remember, in this practical the by default class means once you double click on the factorial button, as we all know that .cs aspx.cs window will get open, that is our coding window, and in that coding window you will be having all the namespaces like using system.collections.generic, whatever namespaces which is there in first half. And after these namespaces we are having the partial class. Just see the second half portion, that is public partial class default. Only this much is there. So whatever which is present in the first half, that is public class A, then we are having fact in. So this class we have separately created. Okay, and the public partial class, that is by default class which is present on .cs file. This is very important. Once you double click on it you will get that partial class default. Okay, in which you will be having button 1 underscore click event. But before this partial class you have to create your own class in which we will do our factorial calculation. Okay, and we will create object of that particular class and call the factorial function in the button 1 underscore click event, which is part of default class. So I hope this is clear to you. Just before the by default class, whatever is present in your .cs window, before that you have to create one more class. So in this example I have created class A which contains 3 variables, that is fact in. Then I have created one constructor, okay, public A, in which I have initialized the value of fact variable to 1, as we all know that we are going to perform the multiplication. So this is the reason why we cannot initialize value of fact variable to 0, because if we are trying to multiply any number by 0, at the end we are going to get 0 as answer. Okay, so whenever you are having multiplication kind of logic, then that particular variable which will store the result should be initialized to 1. So this is the reason why in constructor, as we all know that constructor is used for initialization purpose. When we done this particular topic, I stated this particular statement, that is constructor are basically used for initialization purpose. We cannot initialize the value of any variable directly inside the class. If you want to initialize the value of fact in, these 3 variables are part of classes. So if you want to initialize this variable, then we can do initialization only within constructor, that is public A, and then I have initialized fact equal to 1. After that, in the same class A, I have created one more function, that is void factorial, which is parameterized function which is having one integer parameter, that is int n. Means this n is nothing but the actual number. As we all know that if I want to calculate the 5 factorial, then I have to multiply 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. If I want to calculate factorial of 3, then what multiplication we will do? 3 into 2 into 1, right? So this n is nothing but the number of times we are going to multiply, that will be indicated by the n variable. So it is very very important variable within n, within factorial function. Now we are having simple for loop which we have initialized to 1, I equal to 1, I less than equal to n, means if we are having 5, then the multiplication which will take place, that will be 5 times. So the condition will be I less than equal to n, and then we are having I plus plus. And in the for loop we have written fact equal to fact into I, means suppose if you are having n equal to 5, okay, and the value of I is 1, n is 5, I is 1, 1 less than equal to 5, condition is true, then the multiplication will take place, that is fact equal to fact into I. What is value of fact which we have initialized in constructor? 1. So 1 into 1, 1. Then because of I plus plus, I will be 2. Okay. 2 less than equal to 5, again the condition is true, again multiplication will take place. Now we are having fact equal to 1 and I is 2. So 1 into 2, 2. Again because of I plus plus, now I will be 3. 3 less than equal to 5, condition is true. Then we will perform fact equal to fact into I. So in previous iteration, what is the value of fact? 2. So 2 into 3, that is 6 will be calculated. So now your fact value will be 6. Then again because of I plus plus, I will be 4. So 6 into 4, that is 24. And again because of I plus plus, I will become 5. So 24 into 5, 120. Which is nothing but the factorial of 5. And again because of I plus plus, I will be 6. But the condition which we have written, I less than equal to n, that is 6 less than equal to 5, condition is false. So we will come out of the loop. So out of the loop, what is there? The class is there. And the further code will get executed. But before going to out of the loop, the last value which was calculated, that is nothing but 120, which is the factorial of 5. So this is logic for calculating factorial function. Then we are having class. As we have double click on the button control, so we will get this particular by default function, protected void button 1 underscore click. Everything will be written by default. You just have to double click on the button, that's it. The class A, that we need to type entirely because that is our class, user defined class. Okay, so in button 1 underscore click, now we will create object of class A. How to create object? Write down class name, object name equal to new keyword and again class name. So A obj equal to new A. Then when we will call the factorial function, then in that situation we have to pass the value. So first I have initialized the value of n to 5. We cannot write directly n equal to 5. Because n is not the member of default class. So we will get error, that is undefined variable. So n is a variable of what? Class A. So if you want to initialize the value of class A variable, then we have to write object of the class A dot variable name. So this is the reason why I have written obj dot n equal to 5. So obj dot, that is obj is nothing but the object of class A, which is important. So obj dot n equal to 5. After that we called factorial function. Again for calling, that is the same rule, that first we have to write down object name dot variable function name. So obj dot factorial, factorial is the name of the function which is parameterized, and this is the reason why within parameter we have passed obj dot n. Again here we cannot write only n, we have to write object name dot the variable which we want to pass. So because of this, the control will move to factorial, whatever now we have provided the value 5. So that particular value will be sent to the factorial function, calculation will take place, the fact will be 120, and now we are printing the value of factorial by writing response dot write into round bracket factorial of, this is the text message, this is the reason why we have written it within a double quotes, then plus obj dot n, plus again I want a text to be is, So within double quotes with spaces I have written the is, and after is we want to display the factorial, the value of fact variable. So for that we will write obj dot fact. Again here also the fact is a variable of class A. So without object we cannot call it in other class. So this is the reason why while printing we have written obj dot fact. So because of this code, the following output you will get, that is factorial of 5 is 120 once you click on the factorial button. So this is your practical number 2A, finding the factorial. This program we already did in C, C++, Python also, Java. So I hope you are familiar with this. The further programs which we are going to learn that are new for you, but once you know the calculation part logic, it will be easy for you. So just move on to the next question. So practical number 2A, second question is money conversion. So for this particular practical, I have decided the interface. Basically first we are going to convert dollar to rupee and rupee to dollar, and next conversion is euro to rupee and rupee to euro. So two types of we can say that money system we are going to use, dollar, rupee and euro. Both we have to convert into rupee and vice versa. So for the same I have decided the interface as first is your text box. Okay, after this text box you will be having options. So for the options I have taken, it's not the separate radio buttons, we are having radio buttons separate also, but this is not the separate radio buttons. You will be having in toolbox radio button list control, so that you have to take. This is radio button list. And what is advantage of radio button list? At a time only one option will get selected. This is the reason why, because at a time we cannot convert dollar into rupee as well as euro into rupee. At a time only one conversion can take place. So for the same I have used radio button list. So what is your interface for money conversion practical? First you have to take text box, and the second element which you have to take, that is the radio button list. Okay, in radio button list you can add the list item. Just select the radio button list control, go to property window, there will be option list item or list can be the option, and just click on that and add the options which you want. So in our case what we have taken 4 options, dollar to rupee, so that you need to add to the radio button list. It is very easy actually. Once you take the control from the toolbox radio button list, you will be having one arrow. Okay, so just click on arrow, means it's a kind of right click, and that after clicking on that arrow you will get options. So in that you just have to add the list items whatever you want and simply click on OK. Once you open the software you will be able to do it on your own only. Just see that arrow and click on the list item, and then just add the items and click on OK button. So all the items will be added to the list. And here while creating the list you should remember the text which you have provided to each and every options. Like first you are having dollar to rupee, just see the text, that is everything is in small case. So why it is important? Because while doing the logic we have used if, and if we are going to write the conditions. So which radio button is checked, that we will get to know after from this value, dollar to rupee, rupee to dollar. So this comparison I have used. This is the reason why it is very very important. If you are writing all small cases, and while writing the condition if you are writing the text in capital case, definitely we are not going to get any match. So just remember this, the text which you have set for the list items of radio button list. So for this we are having 2 options, that is one text box and radio button list. And one more again important thing which I want to tell you, that again when you take the control radio button list from the toolbox you will be having arrow. In that arrow list you will get one more option, that is auto post back. So there is a we can say that square present in that. Just check that particular square, means we are making auto post back property to true, or this option is available in property window also. So you can take any option, but that is compulsory. Otherwise what will happen, if you have clicked on first option dollar to rupee, you will get the output, and again when you trying to click on other options, you will not get any error message, but you will get only the answer which you get because of dollar to rupee. So auto post back property, why we are having this particular property, there is again theory question also. This is actually part of second chapter, so you will be having theory question on this also, that is auto post back property. Because of auto post back property, basically if it is true, then when we checked the radio buttons, separate radio buttons, once you check the radio button, the page will get refreshed, and the new event which you have performed, that will be sent to the compiler. So basically auto post back property normally refresh the particular web page when you run and give the latest response to the compiler. This is the reason why it is very important. Otherwise you will not get any error message if this particular property is not true, but you will not get the expected output only because of this. Because first when you run the program, your page has received suppose dollar to rupee option. Second time if you are running the program, or sorry, not the second time, but same time if you are clicking on the next or other particular radio option which is available, then it will show you that you have checked the suppose euro to rupee, but it will not actually send the response to the system. The response which is stored that is nothing but the first option what you have selected when you first time run that particular program. Same time if you are trying to choose any other option button, it will get selected, but the response is not same because the page is not refreshed. If the page is refreshed, then and then only the new response will be sent to the compiler. And this is the reason why we should check the auto post back property to true whenever we are having any type of list in toolbox control. Now we have used radio button list one. Like that you are having checkbox list also, list box is there, combo box is there. So all these controls are having multiple options. So when you change from one option to other option, the page should get refreshed, and that is done only by the auto postback property. And this is the reason why the auto postback property should be set to true. So this is your interface for the money conversion practical. Now we are going to see the coding part. So just click on any option button, double click on any option button of radio button list control. You will be having the default.aspx.cs page. This is our coding page. So again, like in previous program what I said, the class A is not the default class which is present in your web page. Okay, so the class A is user defined class which we have created. So in this case, public class A. Okay, then we are having three options, like we are going to have three types of money system, right? That is euro, dollar and rupee. So for these three I have declared three variables, and again after the conversion we will get different output also, that is calculation we will get. So for the same the data type which I have selected, that is double. It's not necessary every time we will get integer value only, but double can have integer as well as decimal value. So this is the reason why the variables for three types of rupees which we have declared as double data type. Then again in class A, constructor I have created. In constructor I have initialized all the three variables TRE to 0. Okay, and now as we are having total 4 options, means whatever number which we have entered into a text box, that particular value we want to convert dollar to rupee, rupee to dollar, euro to rupee, and rupee to euro. So 4 options we are having. So for all these 4 options I have created 4 functions in the class. Okay, so basically just see the first function D to R. So D stands for dollar and R stands for rupee. So the first function is for dollar to rupee conversion. Okay, so for the same, the EV variable I have taken, which I have initialized to 60. Why 60? Means for the current reference I am considering the $1 equal to 60 rupees. So sorry, $1 equal to 60 rupees. So if you are entering 10 rupees, right, or if you are entering, that is, it is dollar to rupee conversion. So if you are entering $10, so that is nothing but the 600 rupees. So basically what we are doing, the basic value of dollar, we are going to multiply that value by the entered number. So here the function which we have performed, that is calculation part, is R equal to D into EV. That is the amount which you have entered into a text box into 60. Means dollar to rupee means it is very simple, that we have entered the value, that is dollar, and then we are converting in it into rupees. So D into EV. Similarly, the next function is R to D. R to D is nothing but the rupee to dollar. So in this case what will happen? Again EV we have considered 60. But in previous we want to convert dollar into rupee, so multiplication, we used multiplication. And if you want to perform the reverse action, so definitely we are going to divide the value. In first case we have multiplied the EV, and now in second case we are dividing the value, right? Means if we have entered the 600 rupees and $1 is for 60, so 600 divided by 60, what will be the answer? 600 divided by 60, 10 you will get as an answer, right? Means $10 is nothing but 600 rupees. So that calculation is performed because of R to D function. Similarly, now euro to rupee we are converting, and the actual value is changed also, but for the reference now I have used one, we can say that euro equal to 80 rupees. Okay, so if we want to convert euro to rupee, then we will definitely multiply E into EV value, that is 80. Similarly, for rupee to euro, again we will perform the reverse operation, that is division we will do, like what we did in case of dollar, dollar to rupee and rupee to dollar. Similarly we are going to have the same thing here, but the euro we have considered as a 80. Okay, that is 1 rupee equal to 80 euro. So if you have entered 10 euro, so that is 10 into 80, you will get 800 rupees as a output. So this is the logic which we have decided. Again the same thing we are going to perform in the default class. In default class we will create object of a class, and according to the condition or in specific condition, means if checkbox 1 radio button $1 to rupee is selected, then we have to call D to R. If we choose the radio button rupee to dollar, then we have to call R to D, that is rupee to dollar function. So the respective function we have to call depending upon this radio button text. So for the same we have to write some if and else condition, then and then only it is possible. So I hope whatever we have written till now, that is clear to you. We have created user defined class A. For the conversion we have declared 3 variables, dollar, rupee and euro. So for them D, R, E, these are the 3 variables which we have initialized to 0 in constructor, so that any random, or we can say that the garbage value will not be taken by the compiler, it will take 0 only at the start. Then we have created, as we are having 4 option buttons, So for the 4 option button, we have created 4 functions that will perform the respective calculation, like dollar to rupee, rupee to dollar. So for the same, we have written this code. Now the next part, again in continuation of this program only, we will be having a default class. Every time on each and every slide I have given this interface. So from the interface you will have some idea that what we are doing, why we have created 4 functions. So again now we will be having 4 conditions definitely for all 4 options, and when a specific condition is true, on the basis of that we are going to call the functions of class A. So the first part in public in partial class default 2 means that this is nothing but my default2.aspx.cs page. So default 2, the first line inside the class, that is before page load, I have written a obj, means obj is the object of class A. In page load we have declare particular object. First line, that is a obj, that is declaration of a object, and the creation of object we have done in page load. Or you can do one thing also, that is instead of declaring a obj, just create that inside page load, because when you run the program the page will be loaded into the system. This first event by default will get called by the compiler or the server. So page load, inside page load just create the class object. After that, when you change from one option to other, or when you select a specific option of radio button list, that time you have to perform certain action, right? So this is the reason why the next code which we are going to write, that will be on the radio button list 1 underscore selected index change. Like button is having by default property as click, button 1 underscore click, that will be automatically generated and present in the .cs when we double click on the button. Similarly here also you have to double click on any option. So you will be having by default this particular method or event of radio button list 1, that is selected index change. This is again very important point, that if in my code, if I have written code on click event, then please before writing the actual code, see to it that you are at the click event only. Sometimes by default some other event will get open and you just forgot to see that, and after writing entire code, when you run that, then realize I am clicking the button but nothing is happened, because you have not written code on the click event. You may have written on mouse over, mouse click, like that on that event you have written the code. So it is very important, that is the action which you want to perform on that event only you have written the coding or not. So like in case of this program we have used radio button list 1. So you have to write down the code on the radio button list 1 selected index change event. So within that I have declared one variable string a equal to. So now we have to take the value. Value means the text which we have written dollar to rupee. These are nothing but the values. Okay. So we want this text. So how we will get this text? Just by writing radio button list 1 dot selected item dot value. I hope this is clear. Dollar to rupee, these are what? The list items of radio button list. So, and this is we are having items only single option is also there, that is dot item. But what we want, only the selected option, selected item, the text of the particular selected item only we want, and this is the reason why we have written this statement, which is very important. That is string a equal to radio button list 1 dot selected item dot value, whatever item. Like if I have checked on dollar to rupee, so that is my selected item, and its value is nothing but the text, that is dollar to rupee, that will be stored inside the variable a. And after that we have used if else ladder concept, that is if a equal to within double quotes dollar to rupee, means if both the text match, the selected item value is equal to dollar to rupee. Then what we want to do, as I previously told you, we want to call the specific function of dollar to rupee. But before calling, that function is doing some multiplication, right? So for the same, we have to pass the value. That is, now in this case, we want to convert dollar to rupee, right? So whatever value which you have entered inside the text box, that is dollar, which you want to convert to rupee, right? So that dollar value we have to store inside D variable. If you have entered euro value, then that value you will store inside E variable. Similarly, you are having rupee value. If you are enter rupee, so you want to store that value into R. So for the same, we have used that DRE variable. So now we want to convert dollar to rupee. So first we have to take the entered value, that is dollars value. From where we will get that particular value? From the text box, right? Interface was what? First we are having text box, then we are having radio button list. So in this example, I did the same, that is obj.d. Again, D, D to R, all the methods, all the DER variables are part of class A. So we cannot use them directly. For the same, we have to use object of class A, that is obj. So this is the reason why I have written obj.d equal to int32.parse into round bracket. It is not visible, but within round bracket the text is text1.text. So text1.text means whatever value which we have entered in text box 1, that we will get, and we are not directly storing that value into D, because as we all know, whenever in any programming language, when you enter or put the input is always in the form of string, and the D variable is of double variable, right? So this is the reason why first we have converted this input into the respective type, that is integer or double type, by writing int32.parse. Integer variable we can store inside double. So here we are converting string to integer, and this integer value we are going to store inside the D variable, which is of double data type. Okay, and then by taking this value we will call obj.d2r function, because in D2R function we have written the code or the logic for the conversion of dollar to rupee. Okay, after that the calculation will take place and the result will be stored inside the R variable, right? So this is the reason why we will write response.write obj.d, means suppose you have entered $6, right? So $6 equal to, we should get the answer in rupees. So 6 into 60, that is 360 will be performed, right? So obj.d plus dollar equal to, this is the text which I want. If you want, you can take the symbol, but as you all know that the symbol, dollar symbol, is always present before the value. So according to that you have to write the response.write statement. But in this case I have used the simple concept, that is $5 equal to 300 rupees. Like that I have did the calculation. So for the same I have written response.write. So this is what we have written if the value of a variable is equal to dollar to rupee. So this is one option. We have called only the value for the one option, that is dollar to rupee conversion. Else if there are chances that value of a can be rupee to dollar. So the next else if statement I have written a equal to rupee to dollar. So rupee to dollar means now the value which we will enter, that is the value of R variable. So this is the reason why obj.r equal to int32.parse into round bracket text box 1.text. Again same concept, the value which we have entered into the text box, we are converting that string value into integer and storing that value into R variable. While conversion you have to remember this, dollar to rupee we have to use D, rupee to dollar we have to use R, euro to rupee we have to use E, and rupee to euro, that is the last option which is present into the else. So R variable, in R variable we have to store the value of text box. So this is very important point that you should remember. If you are writing wrong variable name, at the end you will not get any runtime error, but logical error definitely you will get. So according to the options, you have to initialize or you have to store the value of text box 1 into respective variables. So now we are at else if a equal to rupee to dollar option. So we are storing the value of text box 1 into r variable. Then we will call r to d function, because in this specific function we have written the logic for rupee to dollar conversion. And then response dot write obj dot r equal to, means suppose I have entered 600 rupees. So 600 rupee equal to how much dollar it will be? 600 divided by 60, that is $10. So you will get output as 600 rupee equal to $10. Because of this statement, obj dot r plus within double quotes rupee equal to, again after double quotes plus obj dot d plus within double quotes dollar. Similarly, now we have written code for euro to rupee. So now I have used e variable to store the text box value. Then we will call e to r function. Okay, and then again response dot write same value. But now as we are doing euro to rupee, so definitely we are going to display e and r variable. Okay, in response dot write. And if all these three options are not present, so definitely the last option, rupee to euro, that is selected. So rupee to euro logic we will call inside else part. That is, we will store the value of text box inside r, and then we will call r to e function. So I hope it is very easy. I have tried my level best to explain you the same, as this is virtual classroom. So I hope from this lecture it is very clear to you all that why we have created class A, what is the logic or what are the things which are present in specific class, user defined class. Then we are having the default classes. In default classes we are actually calling the functions and variables which we have declared inside the user defined class. But when we are calling that particular variables on the specific event, like in this case radio button we have used, radio button list we have used. So depending upon radio button list 1 dot selected item dot value, we will store inside specific variable, and then that particular value we are comparing with the actual text which we have written for the radio button list items. So I hope this is clear to you. So this is our second practical, and the concept which we have used here, the same concept we are going to use in further program also, that is remaining. So now we have seen all the logic for calling the particular function and for writing the function inside the class. So this is the output window, and before seeing the output window there is one more part, that is text box 1 underscore text change event. So just simply click on the text box. Okay, double click on the text box, this particular event will get open, and in that you just have to write down radio button list 1 dot enabled equal to true. Okay, means this particular button will be visible to you. Okay, so enabled equal to true and enabled equal to false. Enabled equal to false means you will be able to see the radio buttons, but you are not able to click on them. Okay, so if you want to click, means once we enter the content, by default the radio button list 1 dot enabled equal to false I have written, because if you are not writing radio button list 1 dot enabled equal to false, then before entering also user can select any option which is available in radio button list, and because of which we will get the error, okay, which we don't want. So in the previous program I have I just kept radio button 1 underscore radio button 1 under dot enabled equal to false in the page load only, so that when user change the text, means text change is nothing but once you enter some value within the text box, means the value of that particular text box is changed, and once the value of particular text box is changed, then and then only the radio button list options should be available to the user. Because if we are not doing this, what will happen if we are in page load event, if we are not enabling the radio button list 1 equal to false, then what will happen? Before entering the value, user can select the options, and if we don't have value, right, we don't have rupee value or dollar value or euro value, then definitely we are going to have error message that this value is not initialized. So this is the reason why in page load event radio button list 1 dot enabled equal to false I have written, and now I am keeping it true. So this is the respective output that you will get after this program, after entering the value. Thank you so much.